Good morning, Dave. Doing great. We're excited about having you as a guest on our show.
Well, I appreciate you giving me the time. Happy Halloween. You're at the midway point between nothing and Halloween, the most important holiday of the year.
Ooh, interesting. That explains why my local haunted house has started selling Halloween tickets. I thought it was kind of odd, but now it kind of makes a little more sense.
So the next thing I know about people want to extend Halloween to, I think, 10 months of the year. We'll give Thanksgiving and Christmas their due diligence or due time, but everybody wants more Halloween. So why not celebrate Halloween, that mid ground?
Exactly. It's a lot of fun. But we are excited about our guest today, David Schrader. He is best known from the Travel Channel series, the Holzer Files, and then Ghost Devils Perch. But he's got a lot of great stuff that talking about today. His podcast, the Paranormal 60, and his new book, Theater of the Mind Tales from Darkness. So we're excited about both of those. Shoot, my wife wanted me to tell you that she is a huge fan and she is jealous that I get to talk to you.
Well, James, the lucky thing is next weekend I'm going to be in the great state of Ohio, in Mansfield, Ohio, at
Ooh,
the Parapsychon event. So come on out, bring your wife, and we can have a good time investigating Mansfield Reformatory. But there's a whole plethora of amazing guests that'll be out there from Paranormal State. You get Heather Taddy and Katrina Weidman. You get John Zappis and Brian Cano from Haunted Collector. Ben Hansen from all the different UFO shows. Russell Acord and Ronnie LeBlanc from Finding Bigfoot or Expedition Bigfoot, rather. Myself and so many others are going to be on hand. So it's a great weekend of supernatural and strange paranormal hijinks and investigations at Mansfield Reformatory next weekend.
sounds phenomenal. They do one heck of a haunted house there as well, and then they do a
Yeah,
music festival as well. Incarcerated. So I mean, gosh, yeah, that place is a
yeah,
rocking place.
yeah, it is. And it's amazing. I've had a chance to investigate Mansfield probably about 15 times, and every time I have just the most unusual and bizarre phenomena from seeing full-on shadow apparitions moving around in the room around me. And it's not just, well, crazy old Dave is seeing it. I've been in a room with 20 other people when we see these shadowy figures come walking through. And I've picked up EVP, electronic voice phenomena, screams, laughter, threats from up in the old solitary area upstairs. It's really an amazing location to visit if you're interested in the paranormal.
Well, shoot. Since you know a lot about that place, I'm going to tell you my joke that they hate every year when I tell it. I always refer
All right.
to the Blood Prison as being the second scariest event to happen at Mansfield. And they always look at me like, huh, and get all, mad. And I'm like, well, yeah, you're incarcerated. The people that go to that are even scarier than the ghost. And they get
I
mad
think
every time I tell that.
the tattooed people might disagree with you about that, and some would like love to embrace that concept. So either way, I think it works out nicely.
Exactly. It's just fun. I was going to say it's just a joke. It ain't
Yeah,
like I'm trying to be mean to the tattooed people, but yeah, they are some intense looking people. I've been up to that. I've been up to a bunch of different stuff like that, and it gets crazy. But back to the fun things that you do or the exciting things you do. The Paranormal 60 is an exciting, streamlined program. How are you able to fit such a great content and insight into just 60 minutes?
I don't always. Sometimes we call them the director's cut, especially on Wednesday. We tend to go closer to 90 minutes long when we do the news. And it's me and a couple of my friends from Texas and Illinois. We look at the different news stories that have come up throughout the week. We just talked and we spoke with a medium from Wisconsin who helped solve a missing persons case in Louisiana, and it's really remarkable. We just had that medium on the show on Wednesday talking with her about what was going on, but we get a chance to examine all of these unusual cases that pop up around the world and talk a little bit about it, have a laugh once in a while, because I believe you got to enjoy this stuff and not take yourself too seriously when you're discussing this. It doesn't mean be disrespectful. I speak to guests from every walk of life that have had very real, very scary, very impactful events occur, and I love to just hear their stories and share those moments with them. And then in a lot of cases, I go put myself out. Like, you tell me Mansfield Reformatory is one of the most haunted prisons in the world, and I can visit, I'm going. And that's why I've been so many times. I love going out and actually becoming part of the history and being there and witnessing these things for myself.
So it sounds like you have an amazing amount of compelling guests. How do you get those guests? Do they come to you? Do you come to them? How does that work?
A little bit of both. And, like I said, doing the news on Wednesdays, a lot of times stories crop up talking about these people that have had remarkable experiences. I reach out to them through social media or email addresses that they've provided and invite them to be on the show. And because I've been on TV with the TV show The Holzer Files and Ghosts of Devil's Perch, and I did about 10 or 11 episodes of Ghost Adventures, and I was on Paranormal State. I know just about everybody in the paranormal TV landscape, so I've had many of them, return to my show repeatedly. And because of that, I have authors and experiencers from around the world that reach out and want to be part of the show and tell their story.
Sorry. So with that, obviously, you have the guests that have truly experienced, just like yourself, that such intense events. But then on a lighter side, I understand you do movie reviews as well of the supernatural movies. What is the most recent one you've done, and what's the one that you're looking forward to?
I like to torture my friends, the segment I call Upon Further Review, where I will take a look at some, paranormal themed movies, everything from time travel to monsters, ghosts, and aliens, and have them take a look at these movies. Some of them are gems. Some of them are really great movies that just slip past people, like The Other from the 1970s. A lot of people don't even know about it, but it's an amazing ghost story. And John Ritter's first big
Ooh.
screen appearance, all the way to The Night of the Lepus, which was a horrible, I would say, a Z-level monster movie about giant rabbits attacking. And you've got, DeForest Kelly, who played Bones from, Star Trek, that movie after Star Trek wrapped up. So there's some just classics and some real classic bad movies that I make my friends watch and then report on it. And I always love hearing from the listeners too. So if you have listeners out there that have a movie that they think has been underappreciated in the realm of supernatural or paranormal, email me, Dave@paranormal6.com. That's Dave at paranormal6.com. And I will be happy to torture, or to the delight of some of my friends, let them watch these amazing movies and report on them on an upcoming episode.
That sounds fun. That sounds awesome. What inspired you to write your new book, Theater of the Mind: Tales from the Darkness?
I've been doing paranormal radio for 18 years. And, for my own show, it was originally on a program called Darkness Radio. I left that and launched the Paranormal about 3 years ago. And then I've collected all of these stories from people around the world that have had very real to them. And I thought, instead of just reading that story once on a show and then letting that story languish in my email box, I reached out to these people and they said, yeah, that's fine. Share my story. And in the book, Theater of the Mind, Tales from the Darkness, two of the stories are mine. I have a haunted doll story and a haunted hospital story. And then there are collections of UFOs, aliens, cryptids, things like the Black-Eyed Kids or the Bloody Bones Man, doppelgangers, changelings. So it's really kind of an interesting narrative from around the world of all of these strange one-off experiences people have had. And although they seem independent of their own, when you kind of look at the bigger picture, you realize just kind of what of a magical world we really live in, that a lot of these things are taking place under our noses. They're being, experienced by people from every walk of life. It's not just some drug-addled person or alcoholic hallucinating. You're getting doctors, lawyers, firefighters, politicians, husbands and wives, and everybody in between, every sexuality, religion, race, and belief system seems to have some kind of strange supernatural phenomena. And even the skeptics who tell me this stuff is complete and utter nonsense, so stupid. But when I was a kid, I had this experience, and then they launch into their own. So it seems like more people have had experiences than not at this point with the unexplainable, and I love that element.
Definitely. Well, Dave, it has been a pleasure having you on the show. Shoot, there's so much more stuff we would have loved to have talked about, but time's running short and all, and I know you got a bunch of more interesting folks to talk to. But before we let you go, we're on social media, we're on the web. Where can we find out more about you, your new book, and that big event?
Well, you can find out everything at paranormal.com. Paranormal.com. My book, you can buy signed copies on my website. You can also click the events tab and see all the cool places I'm going to be, including Mansfield and Parasicon next weekend. So make sure you go check all that out. But paranormal60.com is the website to find me.
Sounds great. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you and happy Halloween.
That was awesome. That was Dave Schrader. It was a pleasure having him on the show. He's from the Travel Channel series, The Holzer Files, and Ghost of Devil's Perch. We discussed his new or his current podcast, The Paranormal 60, and his new book, Theater of the Mind, Tales from Darkness. So that was a really great interview. And then he also told us about that fun thing at Mansfield next weekend. So there were a lot of great content in just a short amount of time. Thank you all for joining us.